the hell?
Million years.
Wow. Now, before we start, I got some shout-outs to give you. Raphael Pham just joined. How you doing? Courtney, Eric's girlfriend, watches the show. Thank you very much indeed. Paulie and Siobhan from Boise, Idaho. Christopher, software AI tech engineer. Man, we need your help on some stuff. Stuart Butler, Amethyst 101, Tonda09V. Tanya, Marlon, Conan, Pink, Woody from Woody Point, Queensland, Australia. Long-time fans, it's nice to have you guys with us. Pam from Alabama. Mark Maelstrom. Christopher Bartlett, who apparently thinks I'm luminous. Not sure what that means, but hey, thank you. Bella, Yvette, David and Christina from Crawley in the United Kingdom, which is strange because I was only there last week. Thank you guys for watching. Now, if you want to shout out as well, make sure you put Steve in capital letters with shout out in capital letters because that way, well, I can see. What would you do if you were out on the ocean at night and the water around your boat suddenly started behaving wrong? Well, that's what these passengers noticed. The waves were uneven, coming in strange bursts like something beneath them was pushing against the surface. It did not feel natural. And that was enough for one of them to start filming. For most of the clip, it's just that uneasy water. Then, right at the end, something breaks through. A tentacle. It rises briefly, large enough to catch your eye instantly, then slips back under before anyone can react. Now, giant squids are real. They can grow up to 13 meters long, with tentacles stretching several meters on their own. But they live deep in the ocean and are almost never seen at the surface, which makes something like this hard to confirm. Still, something was under the boat, something big enough to disturb the water in a way that stood out immediately. And for a split second it showed itself. Was it a known creature in the wrong place, or something we're not used to seeing at all? A man came home from a hike, cleaned up and headed upstairs. Nothing out of the ordinary until his dog stopped at the doorway and wouldn't go in. No hesitation, no curiosity, just a complete refusal. And this was not a new space. The dog knew the room, had been in countless times. Dogs do not just reject familiar places for no reason. They're creatures of routine, and when that routine breaks, it usually means something is off. The man had no explanation. The video dates back to 2022, and nothing has ever been clearly explained to what the dog was reacting to. One theory keeps coming up, that something entered the house while they were out, something the dog could sense, but the man could not. And whatever it was, the dog wanted no part of it. Now, we've said it before, pay attention to your animals. They notice things long before we do. The question is, would you have listened? Because he didn't, and he walked in anyway.
What is the matter? What is the deal? What the Get in here. Get in here. Get in here. What is the deal? Astrid, you're freaking me out. Come here. Come here.
Okay, so we got a fireball. Fireball, okay. Looks like it's got two tails or something, though. Whoa! Okay, what the hell is that? Could that have been like some kind of meteor? A small meteor coming down and it kind of broke up halfway through the atmosphere or something? That's the only explanation that I could give. What do you guys think? Apparently this was in Vancouver. Have we got anyone from Vancouver who saw this happen? A homeowner was inside their apartment when the door handle started moving. Not likely, not like someone testing it. It was aggressive, like something on the other side was trying to force its way in. The problem is, they'd already checked. There was nobody outside that door, and this was an apartment building, not a house. You cannot even reach that door without coming through the main entrance first. Still, the handle kept going, constant, forceful. Then it got worse. Other things in the room started moving too, separate from the door, as if whatever was trying to get in was already inside at the same time. At that point, they grabbed what they couldn't left. And honestly, that makes sense. This lines up with what people describe as poltergeist activity, multiple objects moving, physical force, the kind of presence that does not stay quiet but builds. No one has given a solid explanation for what happened in that apartment, and the footage does not make it easy to dismiss. Because a door handle does not shake like that on its own, especially not while things inside the room are moving too. This footage is from 2022, and that detail matters. Back then, AI video was nowhere near what it is today. The kind of tools that can create believable creature movement now simply were not this advanced. So the timestamp actually works in this clip's favor. What we're looking at is a small creature, not human, not any animal people can easily identify. The way it moves feels natural, like something alive, not generated. Most comparisons point in one direction, a raptor, small, possibly young, and yes, people are saying dinosaur. The accepted view is that non-avian dinosaurs went extinct around 66 million years ago, but there is a catch. Species thought to be long gone have shown up before. The coelacanth was believed extinct for 65 million years before being found alive in 1938. The Jacoan peccary was thought to have disappeared 10,000 years ago before turning up again in 1975. And large parts of this planet are still barely explored, which raises the question: are we looking at something that shouldn't exist, or something we just have not found yet? This clip is dark, but pay attention to the centermost part of the clip. Just pay attention. Do you see anything moving there? At first we just see something moving, but it has no discernible features. The more you look, however, the more something takes form. A few seconds in and we see eyes start to form, and then comes a small face. The thing is, the face doesn't look like it belongs to a human. It looks humanoid, yeah, but as though it belonged to something from a nightmare. I'm tempted to call it a night creature, but what do you also think? Following the earlier raptor clip, this one has been making the rounds too. It shows what looks like a group of dinosaurs moving through a wooded area. The species people are pointing to is called the Giganosaurus, one of the largest land predators to ever exist. Bigger than a T-Rex, a fully grown one could reach around 13 meters in length and weigh close to 8 tons. Now, if something like that were alive today, we would know. Human civilization would not quietly coexist with predators of this size. Which is why the most grounded explanation is simple. This is almost certainly AI generated, built to go viral by feeding into the same curiosity the earlier raptor footage sparked. The movement looks clean, but a little too perfect. The rendering feels constructed rather than captured, and dinosaur content has become a popular target for AI because there's no real-world footage to compare it against. Still, there is a reason clips like this get attention. We keep discovering things we once thought were impossible. The ocean keeps revealing new life. Remote environments still hold things we cannot explain. Now, this one is almost certainly not real. But, well, it's doing a lot of work to prove otherwise.
Mire eso. Allá abajo. Son varios. Mírelo bien. Escuché eso. ¿De dónde salieron? Vámonos.
Moving on from the dinosaur clips, here is something that just looks unreal. Except this one actually exists. This is a feather star, also known as a crinoid, one of the oldest and most unusual animals in the ocean. It's related to starfish and sea urchins and has been around for 480 million years. That means it existed long before dinosaurs and survived every mass extinction since. When dinosaurs showed up, this was already ancient. When they disappeared, it kept going. And then you see it move. It drifts through the water using these feather-like arms, almost like it's floating rather than swimming. It doesn't move like an animal. It looks like something decorative, something that shouldn't be alive. But it is. Those arms are covered in tiny tube feet that catch food from the water. Some species can have up to 200 of them all working at once. And the colors only make it stranger. Bright reds, deep yellows, electric blues, sitting still. It looks like part of the reef. In motion, it looks like something else entirely. Nature made this hundreds of millions of years ago, and it never stopped being this strange. There was another attempt on the life of the president, and the person involved was identified as Cole Allen. Almost immediately, people began digging into his background, and that's where things start to get strange. A Twitter account was found under the name Henry Martinez. It has made exactly one post in its entire existence. Just 2 words, Cole Allen. No context, no explanation, nothing else. When people looked deeper, they found that Henry Martinez was a real person who had co-authored a conference paper on jet fuel in 2015. And around the same general period, Cole Allen was interning at a jet propulsion lab. From there, a theory began to form. Some online communities linked the names together and suggested a more unusual explanation. That Cole Allen and Henry Martinez are connected through knowledge of time travel. That the post was not random at all, but a kind of marker left deliberately tied to events that would happen later in this timeline. To be clear, this is a theory. The connections being pointed out are circumstantial, and there are far simpler explanations. People in propulsion and engineering often move in overlapping academic and professional circles, and named coincidences do happen. But the detail that keeps getting attention is still that account. One post, just a name, years before Cole Allen became widely known. And that's the point people are struggling to easily dismiss. A witness filmed toward a mountain at night after noticing something unusual in the sky. 3 orbs were hovering above the peak in a clear triangular formation. They were not attached to the mountain, and they didn't match any known lights on the structure below. Mountain beacons and tower lights are fixed in place and don't form precise shapes in open air like this. What stands out here is the geometry. The spacing looks deliberate, almost too clean to be random lights seen from a distance. Triangular UAP formations are a recurring theme in sightings, often described as silent and stable. Some theories reference classified triangular craft like the TR-3B, but there is no confirmed evidence of its existence. Still, simple explanations exist. Aircraft, reflections, or distant lights can sometimes create misleading patterns at night, but in this case, the triangle holds steady in the sky. 3 lights above a mountain peak, arranged too neatly to ignore. A property owner in the Appalachian Mountains caught something on a night security camera that they still cannot explain. The camera covers remote land with no roads or paths in the direction. Anything moving there would have had to return the same way. Nothing did. In the footage, a bipedal figure crosses the frame at night. At first, it looks almost human, but the movement feels slightly off, like something is not fully aligned in its form. As it walks, part of it seems to shift. A hand appears as the arm swings, and the body looks inconsistent across frames, almost like it's changing shape. The Appalachian region has a long history of shapeshifter and skinwalker-related accounts, which is why some people point to that interpretation when footage like this appears. Others suggest a simpler explanation. Night vision distortion, motion blur, and compression can easily create morphing effects in low-light footage. Still, the figure moves cleanly across the property and disappears without returning. Something crossed that land at night. Okay, little kids, little girl from Malaysia.
Mana coba angkatnya bawa keluar namun ningali.
Okay, what the hell?
Maneh caca. Ah, nyah maneh mah.
You gotta be kidding me.
Baru mawa.
Is this just normal behavior in Malaysia?
Ah, nyah, ampun.
Does anyone know what kind of snake that was? It can't have been poisonous, surely. You wouldn't give that to a kid otherwise, would you? Do I question the parenting here, or is this just normal? I'm sure it's normal, right?
Itu kenaon? Pasti MBG siya mah, mau MBG heueuh. Naon atuh? Mana naon, mana?
Ayah mah teu apal caca.
Mana coba angkatkeun bawa keluar namun ningali, mana? Astagfirullahaladzim, maneh caca. Ah, nyah maneh mah. Punya ayah mau MBG gitu. Baru mau si Joro maneh. Ampun. Entah sieun maneh. Ah, nyah, ampun. Pejang, aduh, kenang gitu wae, ampun.
Man, I bet this is exactly what Kermit looked like when they canceled the Muppet Show. Actually, it kind of looks like me when I'm drunk, trying to stumble my way back from a bar. Classic AI, but it's funny. A witness in the desert films something passing overhead, and what appears in the footage is hard to immediately classify. A large craft is moving through the sky, escorted by A-10 Warthog aircraft. And the scale is what stands out first. The A-10 Warthog has a wingspan of about 17 meters, yet alongside this object, it looks noticeably smaller. The difference in size is obvious even at a distance. The A-10 is a ground attack aircraft. It's not typically used as an escort in the way fighter jets are, so its presence suggests that it's not routine flight activity. It implies controlled airspace and military awareness of whatever is moving through it. The main craft itself doesn't match any known public aircraft design. It doesn't resemble a B-2 Spirit or any other acknowledged platform in service or on record. Its shape and scale place it outside anything officially confirmed. Now that leaves only a few interpretations: a classified experimental craft operating under military supervision, or something that's not part of any known human program. Some will point to AI as an explanation, and that always has to be considered with modern footage, but the presence of A-10 Warthogs as a visual reference makes fabrication less straightforward than most generated clips. A large unidentified object, military aircraft alongside it, moving across the desert sky. And the question is simple. What exactly were they escorting?
Oh my god! Oh my god. How in the hell? No way.
A man was in a forest when he spotted something in a tree and started filming. The creatures looked like large, dark birds, similar to crows or ravens in body and structure. But the faces don't match anything in normal wildlife. They appear partly human, with eyes and nose and what looks like gray hair, while the lower face tapers into a sharp beak-like shape. They stay perched in the tree, looking down, and don't react to the camera. Some point to folklore like the bruja, described in Latin America and Spanish traditions as a bird-like witch or entity. Others note that the clarity of the footage could also point to AI or digital creation, where detail no longer guarantees reality. It could be misidentified wildlife, a costume, or something generated, but whatever it is, it sits in that uncomfortable space between known and unknown.
No puedo creer lo que estoy viendo. Son brujas. Las estoy grabando con el zoom al máximo. Ya están muy lejos hablando entre ellas, pero no se escucha lo que dicen. Dios.
This footage was captured in Washington and has been circulating during the recent wave of UAP sightings. It shows a faint disc-shaped outline in the sky. Most of the object is nearly invisible, but the shape can still be traced as it moves. It appears to rotate slightly as it travels, a motion often linked to classic UFO reports. The most unusual part happens at the start of the clip. Small metallic spheres appear beneath the craft and move downward toward the ground, while the larger objects continue rising and drifting away. That detail is what changes the interpretation for many viewers because it suggests something is being released or deployed. Still, there are possible explanations like visual artifacts, reflections, or overlapping objects at different distances, but the pattern is what draws attention. A faint disk above, spheres dropping below it, and then it moves away. Now, I gotta ask, what do you think those spheres it dropped are?
So this is the same UFO that was on TikTok. It's dropping those same metal spheres. I am in Washington State. What is going on? This thing is not making any noise. But hold on, I need to calm down. It obviously doesn't want to hurt me. What are these things? They are appearing apparently all over the place. It just dropped two metal spheres that are down below the trees, these fir trees. All right, listen, it's lifting up, it's going away. Just calm down, everything's fine, it's leaving. It's floating away, it's not making any noise at all.
We're going to be straight with you on this one. This footage is almost certainly AI. We're still showing it because it says a lot about how far AI generation has come. A woman claims she was hiking when she heard growling near a cave on the mountain. She films as something steps out. What emerges is a large bipedal creature, dog-faced, humanoid in body structure, holding a goat in its hand. The goat is clearly alive and dangling as the creature stands in full view before retreating back into the cave. The footage is sharp, the movement is smooth, the lighting and detail are unusually clean for something that's meant to be a real encounter. And that's exactly what raises doubt. Real cryptid footage is usually shaky, distant, and unclear. This looks more like a controlled production than a chance recording, but by God, I wish it was true, because you guys know how much I hate shaky, unclear footage. It's also a good example of how AI content has shifted the baseline. A few years ago, this would have been labeled CGI immediately. Now the quality is high enough that AI is the first explanation, but still not something you can assume without checking. We're fairly confident this is not real, but the more interesting question is how close fake footage is starting to look like something that could be.
Oh my god.
Have you ever seen something like this in the sky? What you're looking at is called a fire rainbow, more accurately an iridescent cloud. Despite the name, it's got nothing to do with fire, and it's not a rainbow in the usual sense. It's a rare atmospheric effect that looks almost unreal when it appears. It forms when sunlight passes through ice crystals inside high-altitude cirrus clouds. These crystals are flat and hexagonal. When the sun hits them at a very specific angle, the light splits into its full spectrum, spreads across the cloud in vivid bands of color. The result looks less like weather and more like something painted in the sky. But the conditions have to be precise. You need cirrus clouds at the right height, ice crystals properly aligned, and the sun at about 58 degrees or higher above the horizon. That combination is why most people never see one in their lifetime. They've been recorded in different parts of the world, most often in warmer months when the sun reaches the right position. They can last a few minutes or sometimes over an hour, depending on how long everything stays aligned. It's one of those rare moments where the atmosphere feels like it's doing something designed to be seen. Now, apparently, this shows us how whales evolved. Well, whales were mammals, are mammals. Have we got any, biology, scientists or anybody here who can tell us whether this is actually how it happened? Looks like a crocodile. Well. Okay. I mean, I don't really know what to say about this because I am not a biologist. I don't know how whales evolved. But anybody able to tell us? A man was camping alone at a work site where he was overseeing a team of workers. On this particular night, however, he found himself completely alone in his tent. As he settled in, he noticed a shadow outside of the tent peering in at him. Initially, he assumed it was one of his workers returning to the campsite. However, as he looked closer, he realized with growing alarm that what he was seeing was not human at all. In a state of disbelief, he quickly grabbed his camera and zoomed in to capture the mysterious figure. To his surprise, the figure appeared to be humanoid, but its skin had an unusual bluish hue. The entity stood silently, staring at him through the tent fabric, its features indistinct yet undeniably otherworldly. Fear surged through him, and he instinctively began to pray, convinced that this apparition might just be a jinn. It looks almost convincing, but this footage seems like it was edited. The whole thing feels staged, but I could be wrong.
Take a look at this extraordinary sight, a cat with two tails. While I know this can occur due to a birth defect, I can't help but feel intrigued. You will also notice that this cat doesn't cast a shadow. It's perplexing considering the amount of light present in the surrounding area. The ground beneath the cat remains devoid of any shadow. I find this to be highly unusual, and it's only added to my growing suspicion that something is not quite right. With all the strange happenings in the world lately, it's hard not to wonder if there may be more to this than meets the eye. I mean, Julius suspects it might be a hoax, but could this be a glitch in the Matrix or some other unexplainable phenomenon at play? Share your thoughts in the comments section. Next, we have this intriguing clip that depicts a man floating in the air in someone's garden. This video has sparked a lot of discussion, with some people suggesting that the man is using strings or other trickery to create the illusion of levitation. However, others believe that the man's levitation is real and not a mere trick. There are reports of people being able to levitate after intense meditation sessions. Some believe that this is due to the ability to harness and control the body's energy, while others attribute it to supernatural or paranormal abilities. He could also just be a skilled illusionist who has found a way to create the illusion of levitation, or he may have indeed achieved a state of levitation through intense meditation or other means. What do you think about this? Do you think humans can levitate through meditation or other means? Share your thoughts in the comments section. And just like that, we travel back in time to the 21st of December 2024, where a man captured something extraordinary on US soil. The man in question was simply going about his daily activities as always when he heard a crackling sound in the sky. He looked up and saw this great streak. It was almost as if something or a higher power had divided the sky in half. As expected, he was startled and decided to record the clip and upload it online. Many who saw this were equally surprised, but not us, because we've seen this before. It happened once in Mexico last year, and the people experienced the exact same thing. There's a loud sound, they look up and see a streak in the sky. Comparing both clips, we're tempted to believe there's something very fast moving in the sky and leaving the trail we are seeing, but what? Many in the paranormal community suspect it might be an alien craft, but Aaron, our conspiracy expert, has got a different opinion. He thinks the Air Force might be running secret tests with its supersonic aircraft. If you've been following this channel closely, then you know last year we shared stories confirming that the superpowers, aka the US, Russia, and even China, were developing supersonic crafts capable of going around the world in a few hours. Aaron believes these crafts are being tested secretly by our governments in the atmosphere. According to him, although they largely go unnoticed, sometimes they make so much noise and leave trails like this one in the clip. I know this one is reaching, but when you think about it, it's not impossible, is it? Just in case you're wondering what's going on here, that baby crib isn't for sale. No, this isn't an ad for a new crib. Instead, if you pay attention, you'll see a dark mass or shadow moving behind the crib. That's what got this clip on our paranormal platforms. But you have to ask, what exactly is that dark mass? The mother who uploaded the clip insists she's always noticed spirits around her children, but this is the first time she's somehow captured it on camera. If I were her, I wouldn't know how to feel about this, but members of the paranormal community point out that a dark mass like this could indicate the presence of an evil spirit around the children. It's not the kind of news anyone will love to hear, but what do you guys also think? Is there really a cause for worry here, or are we reading more into this than it deserves? Let's hear your thoughts. This dark mass was captured at the side of the road. It looks like a black goo shaped like a person in dark robes, doing handstands and spinning around. This is definitely not your regular roadside pedestrian. The way it moves and shifts its shape is highly unusual, almost like it's defying the laws of physics. The eerie fluidity and the lack of distinct features make it resemble something straight out of a science fiction movie. Julius thinks it looks like an AI-generated image or video. The smooth, almost unnatural motion and the surreal appearance could really be the result of advanced visual effects or AI technology. In recent years, AI has made significant strides in creating hyper-realistic images and videos that can easily fool the human eye. Is this really one of its creations? This footage was taken at an unknown location. The person filming was outside in a field when he noticed something unusual in the sky. Light orbs were hovering above, moving in a distinct formation. These mysterious orbs of light floated in the air, their movements synchronized in a way that seemed almost intentional. No one knows what they could be or how they got there. The strange sight left many questions unanswered. Interestingly, there is another clip of a similar sighting. In this footage, some ladies witnessed 3 orbs ahead of them while they were at an unknown location on top of a mountain. These orbs formed a perfect triangle in the sky. They hovered there for a while, creating an eerie and mesmerizing spectacle. Then one by one, they began to disappear, vanishing in a thin air. The source, nature, and purpose of these orbs remains a mystery to this day. What do you think they could be? Could they be a natural phenomenon, advanced technology, or something otherworldly?
You need to get him moving. You need to get him up and get him moving. Wait, what's cold? Yeah, it's the time you've got to move. And you've got to move your body.
Now, it just disappeared.
We're here with you.
They're disappearing.
They're here. They're here.
They heard us up on the mountain.
They did. All right, come on. Okay, baby. Yeah, let's get you moving. You fell down. You fall down.
Then they disappeared.
This image was taken at the Bohemian Grove, and it was captured in the early 1900s. In the image, we see a man sitting down with what looks like a demon or something along those lines by his side. If you look harder, you'll see other faces, including skulls as well, that are translucent. The uploader insists that this image is legit, but some are skeptical, thinking it might be edited. If you're familiar with the Bohemian Grove, it's easy to believe this is legit. If you aren't, it will sound like it's unbelievable. Or those unfamiliar, the Bohemian Grove is a secluded 2,700-acre private campground in Monterey, California, owned by the exclusive Bohemian Club, a secretive and elite all-male organization. Every July, they host a 2-week retreat attended by some of the most powerful men in the world, including business leaders, politicians, and cultural influencers. The gatherings are shrouded in secrecy and are known for theatrical performances, informal discussions, and rituals like the cremation of care, which is a symbolic ceremony conducted in front of a giant owl statue. While members described the retreat as a space for relaxation and networking away from public scrutiny, conspiracy theories suggest it involves occult rituals or secret policy making, further fueling its mysterious reputation. In fact, people who have snuck into it state they have seen things they can't speak about. A few who made it out with pamphlets from the gathering state they have uploaded some parts of it which feature a demonic being sweeping something. It's a lot, but what do you guys think about this? Have you heard the strange rumors? Do you care to share? These days, with how busy everyone is, fast food often seems like the easiest way to grab a meal. But after seeing this video, you might want to rethink that choice. This footage comes from a Wendy's where someone captured a stomach-churning sight. Rats crawling all over the burger buns. Oh, just look at that. Absolutely disgusting. And it's not just Wendy's. Burger King has also been exposed for using spoiled ingredients and unsanitary equipment in food preparation. Even worse, there have been reports of staff handling food with dirty hands. Then there's Chipotle, a place with its own long list of complaints. Back in 2015, more than 100 customers suffered from food poisoning after eating there. Investigations revealed that the restaurant was using the same cutting boards for raw meat and vegetables, allowing bacteria to spread. Their kitchens weren't properly cleaned, and faulty refrigeration system caused the food to spoil. These examples are just the tip of the iceberg, but you get the point. With all these issues, is fast food really worth the risk? Maybe it's time for us to get back to preparing our own meals. If you ask me, that definitely sounds like a healthier, safer, and more satisfying option.
Come on out! Why not? Yeah, come on out! Come on! Come on! Yeah, let's leave!
This footage was taken by a man who lives on the Louis Bull Tribe Reserve in Alberta, Canada. The area is known as a hotspot for Bigfoot sightings, adding an extra layer of mystery to this already eerie event. The man was at home when he began to hear strange whispers coming from the woods. The whispers sounded very unusual, and as the voice kept muttering words, one of the phrases it said was, "Wanna play?" According to the man, the voices sounded incredibly close, but when he looked around, he saw nothing. Despite calling out to whatever was making the noises, he received no response. Feeling unsettled, he eventually called the police to check the area, but they found nothing either. So who or what could have been out there calling out to him?
Why not? Yeah, come on out! Come on!
Ever seen anything like this? The water appears to be moving like it's boiling, but it's not hot. It's like something is causing the water to jump upwards, and the movement is very consistent. This phenomenon is quite puzzling. The water seems to be in a state of constant agitation, creating the illusion of boiling without any heat. Could there be several explanations for this strange occurrence? One possibility is that there is an underwater spring or vents releasing air or gas bubbles which can cause the water to appear if it's boiling. These bubbles would create a consistent upward movement, making the water surface appear to be in a constant state of agitation. It could also be mechanical or man-made influences. For instance, a submerged pump or a nearby construction site could be causing vibrations or water disturbances that lead to this unusual movement. Whatever the cause, it's fascinating to observe. The consistent boiling-like motion of the water is both mesmerizing and mysterious. What do you think could be behind this strange water behavior?
A man recently shared a video online claiming that he might have captured a portal in the sky. In the footage, the camera slowly pans across the sky. At first, everything looks normal, but then a strange light flare appears, hanging in the air like a crack in the sky itself. As the camera continues to move, the flare gradually fades away, almost as if it's slipping out of view or closing up. Once the video was shared, people started debating what it could be. Some viewers were quick to suggest that it might be nothing more than lens flare or even moisture or dust on the lens. But the man who captured the footage insists that this wasn't any camera trick. He truly believes he caught something out of the ordinary. To him, this light in the sky was a portal. So, what do you see? A portal or just a light flare?
I think I caught one of those portals today, y'all. I really need y'all's help. I want you to watch how it's... Okay, so watch this. Watch. Did you see that? So I'm like slowing it down, but I want y'all to watch how it... Watch how the line... And the whole thing's going. And I went back, look at...
This is one of the most confusing things I have seen in a while. Initially, I thought the little girl was just playing with another sibling or another toddler. The more I watched the clip, the more I realized that there was more to this scene. Whatever picks up the pacifier for the baby moves quickly, but If you pay attention, you can catch glimpses of its face, and from what I see, it's most definitely not human. Many members shared this thought, but one thing they couldn't understand was how the baby remained so calm seeing such a thing up close. Some believed it could have been something that usually appears to it. Others held the idea that it could be a family member, maybe its mother that had been digitally altered to look like that. Some also felt it might just be a good ghost or spirit. Personally, I don't see that. It's hard for me to see something like this and believe it's a good spirit, but maybe that's just me being ignorant and judgmental. What do you guys also think? A homeowner had set up a security camera in his home after he started suspecting that something was off. One day, he decided to place a camera in the kitchen aimed directly at the dining room table and chairs. As you can see in the footage, everything was calm and quiet, nothing out of the ordinary. The room was still, and the sounds were the faint hums of household appliances. Then out of nowhere, something shocking happened. A straight crack began to form, starting from the stove and extending to where the chairs were placed. The tiles on the floor began to shatter along with this line, creating a jagged path of destruction. There was no visible cause for this sudden disaster. No one was in the kitchen, and nothing appeared to have caused the tiles to shatter in such a dramatic way. It was as if an invisible force had torn through the kitchen floor, leaving destruction in its wake. Julius believes the tiles weren't set well and are only coming off due to that. He believes the man might have set the camera because what he had been hearing and feeling was the events leading up to this. Aaron, however, believes this was a paranormal event, but what do you guys think? Imagine taking a walk on a rainy day and seeing this. Just in case you didn't see it, there's an electricity visibly crackling in the umbrella of the man. If you're like me who does not know much about electricity or likes to mess around with it, you'll be scared or at least startled. The man in the clip, however, is laughing, which I wouldn't be if I were in his situation. I showed this to Julius, expecting him to tell me this was fake, as usual, but this time his eyes lit up, which only meant he had an explanation grounded in science, and truly he did. According to him, high voltage alternating current, HVAC for short, power lines can induce voltage in conductive objects within their electromagnetic field. The EMF is a result of the electrical current flowing through the separated phases of the power lines. He also added that under the right circumstances, you can carry a fluorescent tube under the lines and it will light up due to the induced voltage. He also added that in certain circumstances, it can also cause burns on the feet of animals, particularly those with a wide steppe spread, such as cows. I went through the comments of the original post and found someone who mentioned that there have been reports, particularly from places like Wisconsin, where cows have shown decreased milk production potentially due to EMF exposure. So it turns out what we are seeing isn't too wild. The only weird thing is it's visible in the umbrella. Now I know what you're thinking. Is the man really in danger? Did he survive? Well, we don't know what happened to him, but this video was posted, so he must be fine, right? In Scotland, there's an old house in a remote area. It's called a bothy. It's a simple shelter left open for hikers and travelers who need a place to rest for the night, and it's completely free to use, but despite the peaceful setting, many people who've stayed there claim to have experienced something strange. One YouTuber decided to test the rumors, so he made the trip out to the bothy, set up his camera, and prepared to spend the night. After settling in, he locked the door and tried to relax, but as the night deepened, he heard a knock at the door. When he checked to see who it was, there was no one there. This continued all night. By morning, he was determined to figure out what had happened. He went outside to check if perhaps someone had been playing tricks on him, but there were no footsteps at all, not a single mark on the earth to suggest anyone had been near the door. So could the stories be true? Is the bothy truly haunted?
You've watched all my videos before, you know I don't do shit like this.
Still on UFOs, let's take a good look at this. This one was captured by a couple of kids out in the neighborhood at night. Unlike the previous one, this one's pretty clear. We see a UFO in the sky that appears to be shooting some sort of beam down to Earth. We hear the excitement in the voices of the kids who can't believe what they're seeing. They uploaded the clip intending to share their discovery, if we can even call it that. As expected, opinions were diverse. There were some who couldn't believe that the kids had managed to capture something so unique. They even mentioned they were jealous that the kids had been able to capture a real UFO experience at such a young age. Personally, if this is truly legit, I'll be jealous too, because they have their whole lifetimes to prove this. As we've come to expect, though not everyone's convinced, there are some who emphatically stated the clip was most definitely fake. A few others have argued that the kids were most likely looking at a streetlight and not a UFO. They felt it was just a matter of perspective. Now, I don't know about that, but thankfully you guys have seen it too now. So what do you think we're dealing with?
It's a UFO for real, y'all. That is crazy. Y'all, that's crazy. It's a UFO for real, y'all.
This footage we're about to watch was found by the local police in the woods. It's said that the owners of the camera were never found, but I'm not entirely sure about that fact. In the footage, a couple who had decided to camp out in the woods was scared awake by some noise coming from the woods that was getting closer. Take a look and listen for the noise.
Fuck. It's back.
There it is. Can you hear it? It was a long, loud howl that echoed through the woods. The sound kept on for a while and would stop intermittently. As it seemed to be getting closer, they also heard snapping sounds around them, so they decided to head back to their car. However, seeing as it was late, they lost their way. At the end, you hear a loud growl and screams from both the man and the woman, followed by the sound of an animal.
No one knows what it was or where the couple went after that. The camera falls to the ground and no one sees anything, only the sounds of the terrifying encounter. What do you think happened? The footage leaves a lot of questions unanswered. The mysterious sounds, the sudden disappearance, and the unsettling noises suggest something out of the ordinary occurred. Could it have been a wild animal, a supernatural entity, or something else entirely? For those who don't believe we could be in a simulation, take a look at this.
Wait. Babe, stop cussing. Wait, she's not moving at all.
That's what I'm saying. What is going on here?
In a parking lot, a woman was spotted frozen in time. She stood perfectly still with two bags in her hands and her feet crisscrossed. What makes this even more bizarre is that the cars on the road behind her were moving normally, and it seemed no one noticed she was stuck in time. This scene is incredibly freaky. It's as if she was plucked out of the flow of time while everything else continued around her. The sight of a person frozen in mid-motion, completely unaware, adds an eerie twist to the mundane environment of a parking lot. Could this be a glitch in our reality, evidence that we might be living in a simulation, or is there a more rational explanation, perhaps a medical condition or an elaborate prank?
Look, is no one seeing this? What is going on? Look, even
that's
crazy. No, she's looking. Look.
What?
Someone noticed something moving up in the trees, so they looked up. According to the witness, they saw something perched on a high branch. Now, since it was dark, whatever this thing was must have been either black-furred or completely shadowed, because it's hard to make out any clear details in the footage, except for a very faint humanoid figure, and it appeared to be crouched on a branch completely still. Some say it's just an animal up there, but the paranormal community is positive that it could be a skinwalker. You've seen the clip too? What do you think it is? Have you heard about this? The EU has officially approved the use of mealworm larvae flour in food production. That's right. Insect-based flour is now set to be used in a wide range of food products like cheese bread, pasta, jams, you name it. They claim that the only condition for its use is that the mealworms must be treated under UV radiation before being processed in a flour. So, let's be real here. How much of this process will actually be regulated? Even with strict food safety laws, we constantly see reports of harmful chemicals slipping through the cracks, banned ingredients still making their way into food production, and companies cutting corners to maximize profit. If these issues exist with everyday food, how can we be sure every batch of insect flour will be properly treated and safe? And let's not forget, not everyone is on board with eating insects. While many cultures have traditionally consumed insects, for others, the idea of unknowingly eating mealworm-infused bread or pasta is downright unsettling. At this point, we might as well just go outside, dig up some worms from our backyard, and fry them up because, well, where is this line anymore?
Hey, tell me this doesn't look like there was a mermaid sleeping here. Like, look at that. Did I just find a mermaid imprint? I had to have, right? Tell me there wasn't a mermaid right here.
A girl woke up at 6 a.m. to take a walk by the beach when she came across something unusual. There, imprinted in the sand, was the outline of what looked like a fishtail. The distinct shape with its fin-like edges and detailed markings made it clear that this wasn't just a random indentation. The size of the impression suggested a creature much larger than any fish commonly found near the shore. Intrigued and a bit puzzled, she began to wonder, could it be the mark of a mermaid, as legends often suggest, or perhaps a large unidentified marine creature had visited the beach during the night? What do you think left this intriguing imprint on the beach?
Did I just find a mermaid imprint? I had to have, right? Tell me there wasn't a mermaid right here.
This creature was picked up by a woman who came out of her house to go on a walk. It lay on the ground, lifeless, and looked like a leaf from afar. But as she picked it up, this thing looked nothing like a leaf. It was a rather dried-up fairy-like creature. It had yellow petal-like wings that seemed delicate and translucent. It had long legs similar to those of a human and 2 sets of arms, one positioned on top of the other. The creature was incredibly small, no larger than the length of a palm, with an insect-like appearance with an almost ethereal quality to its tiny form. Could this really be a fairy, or is this evidence that they exist? Or are we simply dealing with something else? Share your thoughts.
It's got like little wings or whatever. I saw it, I thought it was like a flower petal, but clearly it's not.
Next, we got this peculiar clip that was captured by a man driving through a field. His drive was interrupted by something he saw in the sky. It was a long craft hovering above with 4 propellers, 2 on either side. The footage has sparked debate online, with many believing this could be a genuine UFO. Given its altitude and movement, it certainly looks strange and out of place. However, the video was zoomed in quite a bit, making it hard to see exactly the details clearly. On the other hand, skeptics argue that this isn't a UFO at all. Instead, they suggest it could simply be a drone. But you've seen it, so what do you think? This mysterious image was shared on one of our paranormal platforms, and it has left many people puzzled. The woman who took the picture was out for a nighttime stroll through her neighborhood when she saw something unusual about 20 feet up in the branches of a large tree. She wasn't sure what she was looking at, so she took a photo. But what is it? It was a faint, almost transparent figure sitting on one of the branches. It had a slight glow, resembling what many would describe as an apparition. At first glance, it's easy to miss it, but when you look closely, it becomes clear that something is there, something unnatural. When she shared the image online, reactions were mixed. Some skeptics dismissed it, saying it was probably a fog. Others, however, firmly believed that this could be a spirit, a guardian entity, or even a supernatural being watching over the area. One interesting theory suggests the trees, being ancient and full of energy, could be connected to spirits or interdimensional beings. Certain cultures believe that spirits can reside in trees, and forest spirits or nature guardians are common figures in folklore around the world. Like I said, the theories are numerous, but what do you also see?
But unlike the previous footage, which was a movie scene, this fish you are looking at here is very much real. A man caught this dead fish, and as he picked it up and pressed the side of its head, a crocodile-like jaw emerged from its mouth with razor-sharp teeth. This is called the viper dogfish. The viper dogfish, or Trailcam cabiae, is a deep-sea predator known for its terrifying appearance. It inhabits the deep waters of the Pacific Ocean, primarily around Japan, Taiwan, and Hawaii. This fish is rarely seen by humans due to the depths at which it lives, making this footage even more intriguing and unsettling. The viper dogfish has a slender, elongated body and a head equipped with a unique jaw structure. When it opens its mouth, it reveals long, needle-like teeth that are perfect for snagging prey in the dark depths of the ocean. The jaw mechanism allows the fish to protrude its lower jaw to capture unsuspecting prey efficiently. This footage is believed by some to be real evidence of an alien captured in a lab and strapped to a table. The alien, often described as a grey, is not dead or unconscious. The creature moves its fingers slightly and jerks its head back and forth as the person probing it examines its mouth. Watching this video, it's hard not to feel a sense of unease. The alien's movements, though subtle, are unmistakable. Its fingers twitch, and its head reacts to the prodding, suggesting it's experiencing discomfort or distress. But the big question remains, is this real footage or just a hoax? The contents and the source of the footage are also crucial factors. Where did this footage come from? Who were the people conducting the experiment? I guess we will never know.
Trees are living organisms, but unlike humans and animals, they're stationary, or at least that is what we've always believed. They grow, absorb nutrients, and eventually die. But can they move? A man walking near a forest noticed something bizarre. One of the trees was not just swaying in the wind, it was physically shifting from one spot to another. We know that some plants respond to touch, like the mimosa pudica, which folds its leaves when disturbed, but this was an entire tree moving on its own, something that seemed almost impossible. The footage was taken from a distance, making it difficult to see details. Some believe it's just a fallen tree being transported by machinery, possibly for logging or construction. But others in the paranormal and cryptid communities are not convinced. Could this be proof that trees can actually move and that this knowledge has been hidden from us? Interestingly, certain trees like the Socratia exoritza, also called the walking palm in South America, are known to walk by gradually shifting their roots toward better soil and sunlight. However, this process takes months, not seconds. What this man captured did not look like slow movement, it looked like an actual relocation. So what do you think? Was this just heavy machinery at work, or did this tree really walk? A hiker felt uneasy while taking a break in the woods. There was no one else around, but he had this strange feeling that something was watching him. So he looked around, and to his shock, he saw this hiding behind the trees. It was a huge black-furred creature partially obscured by the tree. But even from what was visible, this thing was massive. My first thought when I saw this was, a bear, but look at its broad shoulders, that can't be a bear. And then take a closer look at the dome-shaped head. Naturally, the hiker was stunned by what he saw, and he managed to make his way out of there. He still wasn't certain about what he'd seen and wondered what it was. After taking a critical look at the clip, we should all be able to tell what it is, right? Bigfoot. The question now is this authentic, or is it just one of these poor and sad attempts to go viral imitating the popular cryptid? Stepping away from Nevada to a time where things were much simpler, we have this photo taken of a group of boys who were planning their football game. Most of these images look normal, with the exception of a couple that had a dark figure in it. This dark figure appeared in a few of the photos and looked like it was missing part of its head. As typically associated with these kinds of images, the guys didn't actually see this figure, but he was somehow captured in the images. They are leaning towards it being an evil spirit or demon, but skeptical paranormal enthusiasts are leaning toward it being a doctored clip. You've seen the images, so what do you also think? How do you feel about organizations collecting your biometric data? What about when the organization is your grocery shop for using basic facilities like the vending machine at the shop? Well, there are some grocery shops out there putting out notices like the one you saw, informing those purchasing from them that they are collecting their biometric data.
Currently, many people see nothing wrong with it as they think it's probably for advertising purposes. You know how you discuss with your friend you need something like, say, a PS5 or Xbox, and all of a sudden start seeing ads on it. It's believed that's happening because our phones record these things when we aren't aware of them and sell the data to big corporations. This might sound harmless, but it's an invasion of privacy. When it comes to biometric data, however, I feel it's a bit more serious and should be treated as such. After all, biometric data like fingerprints, facial recognition, and voice patterns is highly sensitive and can pretty much be used for identity theft, unauthorized surveillance, financial fraud, and bypassing of security systems. Hackers can replace biometrics to gain unauthorized access, blackmail victims, or manipulate evidence. This data can also be exploited for targeting scams, permanent lockouts, or even government misuse for mass surveillance and profiling. Since biometrics are permanent and cannot be changed, protecting them is critical. Even if you trust an app or organization, use multi-factor authentication and also share data only with trusted platforms. If you ask me, the grocery shop is not a place, but what do you guys think? The first time I watched this clip, it took watching it again a few more times to discover and find out what was wrong. Can you tell me what's wrong with it? If you haven't figured it out yet, allow me to help. In the clip, we see a young man standing in front of the mirror trying to tell us something about his reflection. He puts his feet beside a shoe already set, as though he were trying to tell us something. When you look at the clip, however, it appears everything has been properly reflected, including his feet in the shoe, so what could be wrong? Well, pay attention to his shoes and their orientation. Do you see how his feet are reflected in the direction of the reflection? Now look at his shoes. Do you see it now? They are being reflected the wrong way. How do we explain this? Well, like most cases before this, we really can't, but most members of the community have added it to the It's a Glitch collection. A few others felt the clip had either been doctored or had AI playing a role. This is one of those clips where I say nothing and look to you guys for your opinion. So what do you think is going on here?
En este video podemos ver un fallo en la Matrix en el cual el reflejo del espejo no coincide con este plano, como si hubiera otra especie de dimensión del otro lado del espejo.
If you sleep with your phone by your bed, this woman has a message for you. Now, she's not someone we immediately recognize, but a story is one we've heard in the community several times. According to her, she usually slept with her phone on charge by her bed. Also, being the light sleeper that she is, she likes to sleep with some white noise in the background. You know, lightning and rain, that kind of thing. She mentioned that the night before this video was recorded, she was asleep when she heard what sounded like a microphone sound. She woke up, looked around, and realized the sound was coming from her phone. She picked it up to see what was happening, and that's when she saw him. There was a man watching her. She immediately panicked and placed the phone down with the camera facing the ceiling. The man noticed she was up and immediately said, "Come back." Naturally, she didn't oblige and panicked some more. A few seconds later, she heard the man speaking a different language in the background, and that's when she started trying to turn off her phone. She was scared, yet somehow made it through the night. The experience was so scary that it sent her blood pressure through the roof. She shared a story online asking people to be careful about their devices, especially at night, because they never knew who was watching or recording. Some shared similar experiences after she shared her story, but many remained skeptical. They just couldn't fathom or imagine how something like this could work. Naturally, it led to an all-out virtual brawl and debate. When you've heard a story, so what do you make of it?
When I was asleep, I heard like a microphone, like movement, like somebody was moving a microphone, and I thought that I was tripping. So I just laid there, and then I heard it again. So I woke up and I looked at my phone, and I saw a man with his face on the screen watching me. So y'all, I panicked, and I just jumped up out the bed like where he can see me. I just jumped up, and then I grabbed my phone and I turned it up toward the ceiling, like where he couldn't look at me. And he said, "Come back." He told me to come back. Then he started speaking a different language. So I immediately started trying to turn off my phone. I turned my cell phone off. He was still on the phone. And he was speaking in a different language for probably about 30 seconds. And then it finally went away.
Someone shared this eerie footage they allegedly captured while exploring the woods. In the clip, an odd-looking creature is seen climbing a tree. Its body is brown in color, and its face resembles that of a rabbit, but not the kind you'd want to cuddle. This one looks more like a will suck your blood kind of rabbit. What makes this creature even stranger is its awkward movements. Its limbs appear stiff, almost unnatural. It climbs the tree to a certain point, then suddenly jumps off, and the footage abruptly ends. I don't know about you, but to me, this screams AI generated. The way the creature moves with its bizarre appearance just doesn't feel quite real. It has an uncanny, unnatural vibe to it. It looks just like the work of AI, don't you agree? This capture comes from a Reddit user who states that she took the pictures during her drug addiction days. As usual, this first image looks relatively normal without any cause for concern. But like all photo-taking sessions, there were multiple shots and the next one is, well, scary. Take a look. At first glance, it looks relatively normal, but as you get closer to the face, you start to notice all that's wrong with the image. One of her eyes actually looks like it belongs to a snake, giving her an entirely different look. It's subtle, but it's there. Many individuals in the paranormal community believe addictions and demons go hand in hand. That's to say, demons push individuals to the place of addiction and take advantage of them. Before you downplay that assertion, you must know that religion plays a great role during recovery from addiction. Ever wondered why prisoners are also given the Bible? If you've never thought about that, this is a good time to reflect and think about it. A man had been complaining for weeks about hearing strange noises coming from outside his door at night. At first, it was mostly indistinct sounds, but on one particular night, things took an even creepier turn. The noises weren't just random anymore. They sounded almost human, as if it was a woman's voice calling out, saying hello in a taunting tone. The way the voice echoed didn't feel natural at all. You can clearly hear these eerie whispers and distorted sounds coming directly from the door. It's as if something was trying to lure him into opening it. But the man wasn't about to take the risk. He refused to open the door, convinced that whatever was out there was not human. Many in the paranormal community believe this could be a trick mimic. It is an entity capable of imitating voices to trick people into letting them inside. What would you do in this situation? Would you open the door or check, or would you ignore it and hope it eventually goes away?
No sé, pero no parece un avión. No sé qué fue eso, pero cayó aquí cerca.
Next, we visit Austin, where a man believes he might have just recorded footage of a UFO. It was supposed to be a day like any other, only it was not, because there was an unidentified flying object in the sky. This object flew and somehow landed in an area not far from him. Being the brave adventurer he was, he headed to the location and found it in flames. Before he could properly explore, law enforcement arrived and insisted he delete the videos he had recorded so far. In fact, they stood there and made sure he deleted the clips, but thank God for recycle bins. Once he was out of their presence, he recovered the clips and shared what they are seeing online. He couldn't get the juicier things because he was stopped. He did mention that since uploading the clips, he's been having strange visitors at his workplace. It was so unsettling that he started staying home. Even then, they started visiting his home, and when he shared this story, it naturally went viral because, well, who doesn't love a good alien story? While some tried to get more info from him, there was one person who did a critical analysis of the clip and stated what the man had seen was most likely a nautical flare and not a UFO. For those unfamiliar with them, nautical flares are visual distress signals used at sea to indicate emergencies, typically burning brightly in red or orange to attract attention. They can be mistaken for UFOs because they burn intensely, hover or drift in the sky, and sometimes move unpredictably due to the wind. Their bright, long-lasting glow and sudden appearance can confuse observers unfamiliar with maritime distress signals. They can also catch fire when they land in dry areas, but, well, this is Austin. How does one end up there? While it's highly unlikely, it's not impossible. If a maritime distress flare was launched over a body of water near Austin, such as Lake Travis or the Colorado River, it could, under the right conditions, drift over land. However, since Austin is far from the coast, the chances of a true nautical flare reaching the city from the ocean are practically zero. At least that's what Julius says. So what do you think?
Next, we have this clip from the Philippines where citizens are seen collecting hundreds of fish. What makes this unusual isn't the number of fish being collected. No, it's the fact that these fishes are willingly coming themselves. Now, the skeptics might be rubbing their eyes, wondering if this is some kind of fishy prank or a well-coordinated community event. The truth is, no one knows how or why this is happening. Could it be a covert operation by the marine world to share their bounty with land dwellers, or perhaps a case of underwater Uber Eats gone rogue? The curious onlookers seem content, treating it like an unexpected gift from Poseidon himself. But the question remains, what's causing this underwater migration to the shore? Could it be a volcanic eruption stirring up the aquatic residents, or is it a supernatural intervention by the oceanic deities to provide for their people? Share your thoughts. This footage was taken a few days ago in Brazil. An odd-looking craft was spotted in the sky. It had a distinct cone shape. The person who took the footage was driving on the road and stuck in traffic when he noticed the craft up there. It seemed no one else had noticed the craft as well. The cone-shaped object hovered silently, with no visible means of propulsion or wings, which ruled out the possibility of it being a conventional aircraft or drone. The observer recording the footage for several minutes captured the craft's stationary position in the sky. Despite the busy road and numerous vehicles around, no one else appeared to react or even glance upward, which is quite surprising given the unusual sight. What do you think this mysterious cone-shaped craft could be? A man decided to set up a motion sensor camera in his living room after he noticed something unusual. His wife had been sleepwalking at night, always heading into the living room. So out of concern, he set up the camera, but it turns out he wasn't prepared for what the camera would reveal. In the footage, you can see his wife walking into the living room in a dazed, sleepy state. She moves towards the dining area, and the camera quietly follows her as she drags out one of the chairs and sits down. But then something strange happens. The rest of the chairs around the dining table move on their own all at once, as if something invisible has just joined her at the table or didn't want her there. But what exactly was it? When the man and his wife watched the footage the next morning, they were deeply unsettled. The way the chairs moved left them completely alarmed. There was no explanation for this, except that it had to be paranormal. So, what do you think that is? Stepping away from the 90s to something more recent, we got this vibrant clip that has many members of my team scratching their heads, including me. Have you ever seen anything like this? Personally, I haven't, but this was allegedly recorded in California recently. It wasn't just captured by one person. We got 2 different clips from 2 different individuals who have never met. Well, I'm not sure what to call what we are seeing, but some in my team decided to go with the Rainbow Bridge. Others called it the Bifrost and teased that Thor was there. While that made for a good laugh, it didn't explain what we are seeing. Some members of the paranormal community saw it as proof of aliens, whereas others felt Project Bluebeam was being fired up once more. But what do you think? These 2 men discovered in search of the source of the booms we've spoken so much about, and ended up discovering a door welded into a mountain. You don't need to be a forensic expert to know that's not normal or typical. In their first attempt at exploring the area, they saw some quad bikes driving along the trail they had used. For safety reasons, they left because they didn't know who these guys were. Driven by sheer curiosity, however, they investigate, and that's when they notice a couple of things. First off, the entrance to the door has signs of frequent use. This meant there were individuals going in and out of the place a lot. The only thing they didn't know was who these individuals were and when their exact times for entering and exiting were. Also, once they got to the door, they realized it had been shut from within and not outside. Basically, they couldn't get into the place except if they were let in. And if all these things weren't odd enough, they also heard a machine running behind the door. It sounded like a motor or engine. They felt they had discovered a UFO in the mountain. Perplexed by it all, they went back and asked the locals some questions. They were then told that the place was actually built by a human who was trying to survive an alien apocalypse some decades ago, 7 to be exact. With the help of the locals, they were able to finally get into the place, and this is what it looks like. So basically, the man had carved out a small part of the rock so he could survive when the aliens came. Did they come? Well, there's no information to confirm or suggest they did. In fact, the people of the town generally thought of him as a madman. So as much as we're looking forward to a story here, there appears to be none. The man mentioned they heard engines. How come the place looks empty? Also, who were the men trailing them? Could the place have been altered to throw them off a trail, or were they onto nothing in the first place? These are questions we may never have answers to.
Antarctica has been the center of many conspiracy theories, ranging from it being the Hollow Earth's center to aliens living there and more. However, no concrete evidence has ever been provided to support or debunk these claims. Recently, this image surfaced, allegedly from Antarctica, showcasing a hidden ancient city concealed beneath the icy walls. The settlement's impressive architecture has grabbed the attention of many, but the question remains, is this true? After conducting some research, we discovered that the image was just a painting and not a real photograph.
Next, we visit the 90s, not for the fashion sense or great shows and music from that time, but instead for this. If you're confused by what you're seeing, you aren't the only one. The individuals who took and uploaded the image themselves were also confused. According to them, they decided to visit the extended family after they had their baby. While there, they took lots of pictures to, well, immortalize the memory. Anyway, when they developed the images, because back then it wasn't all digital, they discovered one of the images looked weird. That weird one is what's on your screen. It looks like some sort of being or spirit is standing in front of the child. Like most of these photographs, the parents swore there was no one there, yet somehow the developed photo showed there was. Many in the community told them that they'd most likely come across the spirit of someone they didn't know.
The spirit, according to the online experts, could have been living in the place where the extended family lived without anyone knowing. That doesn't make it any better, but would you prefer to live in a place where a spirit is and not know it was there, or would you want to find out so you could take necessary precautions? This was sent to us to check out as well. Personally, I'm not really sure what to make of it. The uploader insists it's a real creature out there in the world. My gut and all my senses tell me this is AI. Maybe it's true. Maybe Julius is making a non-believer out of me. I just don't see this being real, but then again, I could be wrong. Can you guys share your thoughts with me on this one?
I keep hearing sounds in my bathroom. I don't know what it is. I haven't whistled, I haven't messed with this thing. Holy crap. No freaking way. Did you see that?
Yes.
Did you see that?
Couple was getting ready for bed when something strange started happening. Unusual noises began coming from their closet, almost like the wind blowing, but there was no wind in the room. Curious and a little unsettled, the man grabbed his camera and went into the closet to investigate. He looked around carefully but saw nothing unusual. With nothing else to do, he decided to go back to bed, leaving the camera pointed toward the closet with the lights off. Then, the camera captured something eerie. You see the blue light in the closet. Pay attention. Something moves in front of it, a dark, shadowy figure. But there was nothing inside the closet when he checked. So what was that? A ghost? A shadow person? Or something else entirely?
I keep hearing sounds in my bathroom. I don't know what it is. I haven't whistled, I haven't messed with this thing. Holy crap. No freaking way. Did you see that?
Yes.
Did you see that?
Next, we have a video from a man in Detroit who noticed something strange while walking through his neighborhood. He spotted a shadow moving quickly along the side of the house, but when he looked around, there was no visible source for it. He panned his camera around, even checking the rooftop, but saw nothing. However, if we take a closer look, there's something easy to miss at first glance. For a brief second, a figure moves across the roof, so fast that it's barely noticeable. The problem is we can't say for sure what it is. Some believe it's just a regular animal like a rooster or something along those lines. The cryptid enthusiasts in the community are, however, convinced this was something else, maybe even a cryptid he wasn't meant to see. Beyond that, there's been no luck explaining the footage, and I wouldn't attempt it. The logical ones, as I like to call them, believe that there is someone manipulating the shadows. Then there are a few who think the whole thing was staged. Which of these schools of thought are you going with?
Ain't up there. Ain't up there. So what the fuck? Where are you going? What is that?
I know some of you believe we love to pick on the rich and powerful, but that's not the case at all. Sometimes we just find them in situations that make it hard to ignore. Take this capture of Justin Bieber, for instance. Doesn't he look like he's in a trance? This happened at his own show, and it's got many people talking. Most individuals in the community simply expressed sympathy for him and stated that he's just a victim of an evil industry. Some argued that he might be on drugs, whereas others stated that he might have been forced to do unspeakable things in his youth, and these things are just the aftermath or consequences. It took a lot for me to include that in this script because even I recognize it when someone's been taken advantage of, and the last thing I want to do is become another voice that would hurt them. When you say a prayer, say one for Justin and all other young kids and adults who may have been taken advantage of by the industry. Back in 2022, a woman in Monterrey, Mexico captured something strange on camera late at night. In the footage, you can clearly see a disc-shaped craft hovering in the sky. It had lights on it, glowing brightly and lighting up the area as it slowly drifted behind some buildings. The way it moved was smooth and quiet, exactly the kind of behavior people associate with classic UFO sightings. Now, Mexico is known as one of the world's UFO hotspots. Over the years, there have been countless reports, eyewitness accounts, and videos coming out of the region. Whether it's strange lights or silent craft seen hovering in the distance, Mexico has seen it all, which is why most people are convinced that this is real footage. So what do you guys think? This story involves two teenage girls who were out at night when they decided to play on a children's playground. Since it was late and no kids were around, they thought it would be fun to go through a crawling tunnel, even though they were way too big for it. One of them was filming the experience for fun. As she crawled through the tight space, she came to a junction inside the tunnel where she had to choose a direction. She paused for a moment, talking to her friend while deciding which way to go. Unbeknownst to them, the camera captured something eerie. At the exact moment, a very soft whisper can be heard. It was low, quiet, and close to the camera. However, nothing was in sight. The two girls, completely unaware, continued laughing and talking as if nothing had happened. A few moments later, after they chose the path and continued crawling, another childlike whisper was recorded. Once again, the girls didn't hear anything in real time. It wasn't until later that night, when they were reviewing the footage, that they noticed the disturbing whispers. What makes this even stranger is that the playground was not abandoned or known to be haunted. It was part of a restaurant that was still in operation. There were no reports of paranormal activity, at least not before this incident. Many in the paranormal community believe this could be a residual haunting. Unlike intelligent hauntings where spirits interact with the living, residuals hauntings are passive. They don't recognize people, they don't try to communicate, they're just echoes of the past trapped in time. Places hold a lot of memories, and sometimes those memories are good, while at other times they can be dark and unsettling. The space you're sitting in right now, watching this video, could have a history you know nothing about, one that's either pleasant or tragic. Over time, energy can be imprinted on a location, leading to what is known as residual hauntings. So what do you think? Was this just a coincidence, or did these girls unknowingly stumble upon a ghostly imprint of the past?
Yours is brighter, mine's all... Yours is brighter, mine's all...
I came across footage that made me feel incredibly disgusted. One of those videos that just makes your skin crawl. In the clip, someone had immersed a white buoy into a body of water, and as soon as it dipped beneath the surface, dozens of wriggling, slimy creatures latched onto it and started swimming all over. These things were twisting, curling, and moving in an unsettling, synchronized way. It was like something straight out of a horror movie. The water itself looks dirty. Just watching the footage gave me chills. I can only hope that whatever filmed this used a protective camera case and simply dipped it into the water rather than actually getting in, because just look at these things, whole writhing massive leeches. If you've ever seen leeches in action, you know how unnerving it is. These creatures latch onto anything they can, suck blood, and they just don't let go. Before you get into any water, make sure there are no leeches, and just don't get into water that looks like this. Speaking of things that could potentially be AI, take a good look at this image. What do you see? 99% of you must be confused, so allow me to explain. The image you see on your screen was captured by a lady who was out to view an apartment, or so the story goes. She took an image and dropped it on her family page to show the rest of them what their place looked like. It was only after uploading the image and coming back to it that she noticed she wasn't the only one in the photograph. There was someone else on the right side of the image that appeared hunched over. Shocked, she checked the original image on her phone, and it was the same. Somehow, there was someone else in the photograph with her, and she did not know who. The weird thing is, when she took the photo, she was alone in the frame. Some members of the family who believed in the paranormal shared the photo online, asking what everyone else thought. Some thought the apartment was haunted and cursed, others felt she had a spirit trailing her. Whatever the case, she refused to get that particular apartment as she had never had such an incident until she went there. What would you have done in her place? This photo was captured to commemorate a birthday celebration. Anyway, after they had enjoyed themselves and gone home, the next logical thing to do was go through the photos and reminisce. As the birthday celebrant went over the group photos with her party at the lake, something caught her eye. There was a little boy in the photos with them. The thing is, there were no kids at the party. In fact, it was an all-ladies gathering. This sent shivers down her spine, and she shared it with some of her colleagues. They encouraged her to post it online and seek answers. When the image made its way online, many individuals told her that they probably went to a haunted lake. While this would have spooked many, it made the woman sad to know they were out there. There was a little boy who was stuck near a lake because he probably suffered a violent death. This is the first time I've seen someone worried about a ghost instead of themselves, but hey, we can't all have hearts of stone, right? It's great to know that there are good ones out there. Take a good look at this photograph. Do you see the individual standing in the window? They're a mix of children and adults. I know what you're probably thinking. Why am I showing you images of individuals in their apartment building or hospital? And you wouldn't be wrong for thinking that, but you aren't right either. The location in the image is Waverly Hills, and if you're unfamiliar with it, the Waverly Hills Sanatorium, located in Louisville, Kentucky, is one of the most famous haunted places in the U.S. Originally opened in 1910 as a tuberculosis hospital, it housed thousands of patients during the early 20th century when the disease had no cure. Due to the high death toll, the hospital even had a body chute, a tunnel used to discreetly remove the deceased to avoid lowering morale among patients. After closing in 1961, Waverly Hills became a magnet for ghost stories with claims of shadow figures, ghostly voices, and apparitions of former patients. Paranormal investigators often report strange occurrences, making it a hotspot for ghost tours and supernatural enthusiasts. This image was captured recently when there was no one supposed to be there. Do you think the rumors and everything we've heard about the place are true? Do you have first-hand experience? Kindly share your thoughts with us in the comments section. When you're out in the woods at night, it's not uncommon to see glowing eyes staring back at you. The main thing to be concerned about is who those eyes belong to, a predator or simply something more sinister. An individual was walking through the woods when he noticed this single glowing eye moving through the darkness. It shifted positions, almost as if it were watching. Since it was too dark to make out any clear shape, he couldn't tell what kind of creature it was. Some people speculated it could be a shapeshifter, while other skeptics pointed out something interesting. Below the glowing eye, there was a faint reflection, something that looked strangely like a shoe. Could this have been just a person in the woods with a reflective shoe and a flashlight? Kindly take a second and third look and share your thoughts. It gets even more confusing with this photograph. Allow me to offer a bit of context. This photo was taken in the hospital. It was supposed to be the picture of a young lady who had attempted to take her own life. Although she didn't succeed, we can say that if she hadn't received help when she did, it might have been too late. The photo was taken by someone with her, and when the person reviewed the image later, what they saw was what you were seeing here. That's not the girl standing or crouching over the bed. That lady is actually lying down. The thing standing over her wasn't visible to the naked eye, but somehow was captured in the photograph. This has led many in the community to believe that it was some sort of demonic spirit waiting for her to die so it could grab her soul. Most people say she committed a serious crime by trying to take her own life, which had earned her a place in purgatory. Crazy, I know, but that's the only theory going around right now. Either that or the story and image are fake. Which do you think it is? This was allegedly recorded during a recent family gathering, and it captures something or someone that was not invited. Can you see it? The uploader of the clip has emphatically stated that it's a demonic presence that was spying on them during the family gathering. A few others agreed and stated that they had experienced something that was similar, but not everyone was on the same page. To some, it only looked like a demonic being because of the poor quality of the footage. They believed the individual outside the home who was spying is a little girl who was not invited to the gathering. Her face looks off only because she's wearing a sad look, like she's almost in tears. I must say I did look at the clip over and over and over, and I'm tempted to think that it might just be a sad, upset, neglected little girl. Maybe I'm only seeing what I want to see, but the possibility of it being that only broke my heart and made me sad. What do you guys see when you look at this? Do you see a sad little girl too, or is a demonic spirit out there? For the first time, I'm actually here hoping it's some sort of spirit and not a living child. Anyway, what say you? This video is definitely unsettling. At first, it looks like a normal person opening the door. But here's the thing. No one was supposed to be inside. The homeowner was the only person living there. The footage shows a figure opening the door from the inside, allowing the man to enter. However, there was no one else in the house. The homeowner had felt strange things before, like an unseen presence, but never had proof. So he set up cameras around the house, and this is what he captured. In another clip, the same figure appears again. This time it seems to be following him to the door as he leaves for work. The figure is wearing what looks like a white hoodie and sweatpants, but the people living in the house don't recognize it at all. If this were a family member or friend, they would have said so, but no one knows what or who this is. Could it be the spirit of someone who lived there before, or some kind of unknown entity attached to the home? Hard to say, but what do you think? Have you ever thrown sand into the air and watched it go? No? Well, then you missed out as a kid. If you have, did it ever become something like this? If it's not already clear, he threw sand up into the sky and it looks like it became some sort of whirlwind, or at least took the shape of one. Well, that's not normal, right? Many who saw this believed it was a glitch in the Matrix. Some also pointed out that it could be energy fields being way over my head. I saw Julius's opinion and learned a thing or two. According to him, this could be explained by natural air currents interacting with the sand. If there was already a small dust devil or an updraft present, throwing sand into the air would make the invisible airflow visible, given the appearance that the sand itself formed into a whirlwind. Dust devils are common in dry open areas with heated ground surfaces, and even a slight disturbance like tossing sand can make them even more noticeable. He also mentioned that if the person threw the sand into a sudden gust of wind, it could momentarily swirl into a vortex-like motion before dispersing. Less exciting, I know, but his explanations are always logical. Either way, what do you think is more likely, a glitch in the Matrix or what Julius said? This was uploaded by a fisherman online. The person claims he pulled an alien from the deep waters. By that, I guess he means they came across what's on your screen while fishing at lower depths than normal. They believe it's an alien and uploaded it as proof, and many in the community bought into the idea and believed the men were telling the truth. Others, not so much. They felt the clip might have been doctored with AI. Looking at it, I understand why they think that, but the ones who subscribe to logic and the scientific method in the community think this might be a deep-sea fish that might have somehow ended up in the clutches or nets of these fishermen. We featured a lot of deep-sea creatures on this channel and even explained how their bodies are unable to hold up when they make it to the surface due to the differences in pressure. If this is indeed a deep-sea creature, there's a possibility that the logical ones, as I like to call them, are right. But then again, it's hard to say what is what in today's AI crazy world. What do you guys also think? A subscriber sent this in, and it's one of the more mysterious clips we've seen. They were out on a boat in the ocean when they noticed something strange. The calm waters around them suddenly began to shift, disturbed by something moving underneath the surface. We never actually see what it is, but we can see how the water reacts to its presence. Whatever it was had to be massive. The ripples and swells on the surface weren't normal. They moved with purpose, as if something large was gliding just below. There are countless legends and theories about sea monsters lurking at sea. Could this be one of them? Because from the look of it, no ordinary sea creature or even the largest ones we know could create this kind of movement on the surface. So what do you think is down there? The most chilling images are always the ones where you take a picture and end up capturing something completely unexpected in the background. Just the thought of something unseen watching you without even knowing is deeply unsettling. That's exactly what happened to this dog owner. She lived alone with her 2 furry companions and had just returned from a late-night walk with them. After settling in, she decided to take a cute photo of one of her dogs who had climbed up onto a chair. At first, it seemed like nothing more than an innocent moment until she sent the picture to someone and they told her to take a second look. In the doorway, just behind the dog, was a dark humanoid figure lurking in the shadows. It was completely black, standing eerily still and appeared to be wearing a hood. The figure blended into the darkness, but its presence was unmistakable. It was watching her and her dog the entire time. Once she shared this image, there was one question that lingered in the minds of everyone who saw it. Was this an actual person or something paranormal? If it was an intruder, that alone is terrifying. Someone standing silently in the dark inside her home without her noticing, that's every homeowner's worst nightmare. But with intruders, at least there's a physical presence to confront. In this case, that doesn't seem to be what happened. Instead, whatever it was just stood there staring in her direction. Many have linked the eerie encounter to shadow people, which are mysterious figures that have long unsettled believers in the supernatural. If you're new to this, the paranormal community widely believes these shadowy entities could be spirits, manifestations of hauntings, or even interdimensional beings. Whether it was human or something else, one thing is certain. Something was there that night, watching. But what was it? I guess we will never know unless you guys have some insight into the whole thing we're not aware of. We have a chilling video that was shared by a group of urban explorers. They decided to visit an abandoned nursing home. As they walked through the eerie hallways filming, something unexpected happened. While pointing their camera up the staircase, they suddenly noticed movement. At first, it was just a shadow, something dark and human-shaped lingering at the top of the stairs. But as they focused their camera to get a better look, the shadow moved. It walked across the landing, disappearing behind the wall.
What's terrifying is that the figures didn't seem solid. It wasn't just a person standing up there. It looked like a dark mass shifting and gliding rather than walking normally. The group panicked. They knew they were the only ones inside. No one else was supposed to be in the building. Imagine going for a swim and suddenly coming face to face with this massive creature just beneath the surface of the water. Its eye is closed and it's completely still. At first, it almost looks like a hippo because of its size, but look closer. The face is smaller, so it definitely is not a hippo. Smaller fish are swimming nearby, and some of them are even nibbling or feeding off whatever's growing on its back. Yet the creature doesn't move, it just floats there. Some people who've seen the footage are saying it's a manatee, which is one of the most gentle giants known to rest near the surface. And that could be true. So what do you think? Is it just a manatee taking a nap, or could it be something we haven't quite identified yet? What would be your first thought if you saw something like this in the sky? For many in our community, the first word that comes to mind is portals. Honestly, I don't blame them because that's exactly what I thought too. A lot of people believe those strange lights or swirling patterns we sometimes see overhead and aren't just unusual weather. To them, they're brief glimpses into something bigger, moments where another reality seems to bleed into ours. The sky twists, opens up for a second, then snaps shut again, and even though it's over in a flash, the experience tends to stick with you. There are those who see many theories floating around. Some people think these are natural cracks in space and time, just random rifts that show up now and then. Others are convinced they are more deliberate, like entrances being opened up by something or someone that doesn't belong to our world. And the reports don't just come from one area. People have seen these things during thunderstorms, above mountain ranges, and even in the middle of a calm desert sky. Every time it happens, it feels like reality hiccups and something unfamiliar slips through. So, what are we actually witnessing? Could these be accidents, little tears in the fabric of our dimension, or is something out there intentionally opening these doors to peek in, study us, maybe even try to connect? Whatever the case, more and more people seem to be seeing them, and it's getting harder to brush it off as coincidence. All I'm saying is, the next time you catch something strange in the sky, don't be so quick to wave it off, because every now and then, it's not just a cloud drifting by, it could be a doorway waiting to close. Surely we all know how scary paranormal beings can be at this point, but sometimes, just sometimes, I feel human beings have the capacity to be even scarier, especially when they choose the path of evil. Take the case of Kimberly Sullivan from Waterbury, Connecticut. In February 2025, her 32-year-old stepson, weighing only 68 pounds, set fire to his room in a desperate bid for freedom after allegedly being held captive for over 20 years.
Come on, come down.
Come on down.
Who else is in the house? Who else is in here?
My stepson is in here.
How many other people?
Help him out.
Listen,
That's it. I have 2 cats.
Everybody's out?
Yes.
But your stepson's still inside?
Yeah, he's right here.
Okay,
yes,
come out. Come down the road. Come on.
He claimed that since the age of 11, he'd been confined to a small unheated room, deprived of adequate food, water, and basic hygiene. The victim's biological mother, Tracy Vallerand, expressed immense pride in her son's resilience and escape, but also profound heartbreak and disbelief at his treatment. She had searched in vain for him for many years, 20 to be precise. Sullivan was arrested on charges including first-degree assault, second-degree kidnapping, and cruelty to persons. She posted a $300,000 bail and was released, awaiting her next court appearance on March 26, 2025. Her attorney, Ionis Kaloidis, denies the allegations, claiming her late husband controlled their son's upbringing.
Absolutely not true. He was not locked in a room. She did not restrain him in any way. She provided food. She provided shelter. She is blown away by these allegations.
This case has drawn significant attention, with authorities describing it as one of the most severe instances of human mistreatment they've ever encountered. Hopefully the young man gets the much-needed justice that he deserves in this case.
Age of lab-grown meat has arrived in this country. The Agriculture Department just approved 2 California companies to sell chicken grown in steel tanks using cells that come from an animal egg or a special bank of stored cells. The cell-cultivated chicken will first be available at a restaurant in San Francisco and another one in Washington, D.C., owned by famed chef Jose Andres, before hitting stores.
With all the strange things going on around us, you would think the things we're familiar with will stay familiar. Well, it turns out that that's not the case. Now we also have to worry about whether or not we're even eating real meat anymore. 2 major food companies have officially been given the green light to produce lab-grown meat. Yeah, meat made in a lab and distributed to various food establishments to start selling. To be honest, I'm not even shocked anymore. With all the plastic, rubber, and questionable food ingredients that have been exposed over the years, is it really a stretch to think that lab-grown meat has already been introduced into the food system without us even knowing? Maybe they're just making it official now. The real question is, will people even care? Some will argue that lab-grown meat is a solution to factory farming and environmental issues, while others are deeply concerned about what's really in it and whether it's safe for long-term consumption. What kind of modifications have been made? Will there be side effects that we don't know about yet? You know what? My heart's racing just thinking about this. After all, we are what we eat, and I personally don't want to feel like I've been grown in a lab. Let's move on to the next thing, okay?
Now, I've always had a theory that octopuses are actually, or octopi, is that what you call it? Are actually aliens from another planet that came down here, either on an asteroid or something. Because they're too intelligent to be animals in the normal sense of the way. Could there be other animals? Anyway, let's look at this clip, because apparently this is something else that people think was an alien.
There is a worm that eats bones, and this is its feeding ground. Thousands of them, covering every surface. This is the zombie worm. Every worm you see here is actually female. The males live inside them, up to 100 of them, inside a single worm. The males exist for one purpose, reproduction. They spend their entire lives inside her, never leaving, never feeding, completely dependent on the female to survive. And yet, it has
Sounds a little bit like Tommy Lee when he was going out with Pam Anderson.
It secretes acid through its roots, dissolving the bone from the inside. The roots burrow deeper, breaking down fat, protein, everything the bone contains. An entire whale, reduced to nothing. This creature fed on dinosaurs. It has been dissolving the dead for 65 million years.
Wow.
There is a worm that eats...
I mean, that's pretty creepy stuff, right? I mean, it's beautiful in some respects, but pretty creepy. I don't know. You gotta be a bit of a strange guy to want to be inside of a woman 24 hours a day, never eating, never sleep. What the hell am I saying?
It secretes acid through its roots, dissolving the bone from the inside. The roots burrow deeper, breaking down fat, protein, everything the bone contains. An entire whale, reduced to nothing. This creature fed on dinosaurs. It has been dissolving the dead for 65 million years.
Anyway, we've come to the end of this episode of Classified Captures. Now, do me a favor. If you got any videos, you got any pictures, you got any stories that you can give us, send them to us at classifiedcaptures@gmail.com. We will stick them on this channel, and if you're lucky, we'll give you a shout out to say that you're the one who actually gave it to us in the first place. How does that sound? Pretty good, right? Anyway, the weather's pretty crap. I'm gonna go do other things anyway. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Take it easy.